Hello. Sicknote. I was sick on Tuesday. Just general sickness. That vague feeling of ungoodness. So I called into work and told him I couldn't come in. And it didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Wednesday morning rolls around, and I'm back on my game, so I flop on over to work and get cracking when I get an email from my boss asking me to come see him in his office immediately. So I go. It's on the other side of the building from where I work, and I thought about getting a candy bar during the trip, but I ultimately decided against it. Boss time is serious time, and serious men don't eat candy bars. So I get to the office, and the motherfucker's chomping away on a Snickers. That doesn't have anything to do with anything, it just made everything a little more annoying. I totally could have gotten a Twix or something, but anyway, I get in there and I say, "Hey boss, just got your email and I came right away. What's up?" And he looks up at me and says, "Hold on a minute. I'm finishing the Snickers now. We can talk after that. Please take a seat." So I did. It was a decent seat. Black. Leather. Basically, it was what every seat ought to be. So yeah, I sat there and watched him eat that Snickers, and I have to say that I think he started eating extra slow to annoy me. It worked. About 2 minutes later, he was finished, and he crumpled up the wrapper and threw it at the basket. He missed. But didn't bother cleaning it up. Neither would I in that situation, probably. Yeah. See, now I'm warming up. No, I'm not. Okay, anyway, I said, "So what'd you need, boss?" And he goes, "You missed work on Tuesday. Sick, right? You were sick?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was a little under the weather." And he says, "Well, I'm going to need to see a note from your mother." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And "A note from your mother," is what he says, confirming that you were indeed sick. But my mom died years ago, and good riddance, really, because she was terrible. So I let him know my mother died years ago, and I can't get a note from her. "Well," he says, "you'll just have to take up the dark art of necromancy and summon her spirit up and write you a note." And I groaned because I don't want to start doing necromancy because that's what weird fat guys do, and I'm not a weird fat guy. So I said, "But boss, necromancy's for weird fat guys." But that turned out to be not the best thing to say, because guess who's a necromancy enthusiast? My boss. So, yeah, he's like, "Are you calling me weird and fat?" And I mean, to be very blunt about my boss is weird and fat, exactly. But I'm like, "No, boss, no. I had no idea that normal people like you did necromancy." And he harumphed a bit, and that was that. So I left his office and went to the candy machine in the hall, but it was broken, which was very sad, but like, whatever. So after work, I went to the Necromancy Depot out by I-53, and guess what? Crazy sale on animal skulls, very important to the average necromancer. The place was packed, and it's all these fucking people with dumb tattoos and retarded facial piercings and basically everything horrible that I hate. Well, I got to muscling through the crowd and finally made it into the section for summoning, and fortunately everybody came for the skulls, so this part of the store was pretty calm. And I found this dweeby little prick messing with some stuff on the shelf, so I went up to him and I was like, "You work here?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "I need to summon a dead spirit." And he says, "Evil spirit or good?" And I thought, well, that's debatable, but what I said was, "It's my mom." And he goes, "Oh, family ghosts are different. You'll probably want this book and some chalk." And he hands me this book called A Practical Guide to Familial Summonings, which cost entirely too much, and just when I start thinking, hey, this guy's actually kind of helpful, he pulls out a Butterfinger and starts eating it, and my frustration level rises because I want a damn candy bar, and everybody else gets to have one, but whatever. So I get home, and I read the book, and I draw a pentagram thing on the ground, and it looks like I'm ready to rock, so I do the spell, and sure enough, there's my mom. All transparent, and, you know, floaty, and whatnot. And so I try to get the right things. So I try to get right into things with her, and I'm like, Mom, my boss is crazy and doesn't believe I was sick on Tuesday, and he asked me to get you to write me a note to prove that I was actually sick and not just skipping work for fun. And of course she's all like, well, I'm dead, so I don't have to write notes anymore, leave me alone. And I'm thinking, classic, Mom, classic. But then I'm like, come on, Mom, just write me a note, it'll take less than a minute. But she launches right into, you were always my worst son. It's a good thing I had 4 sons instead of just 1, because I'd hate you to be my only son, because what a disappointment. Sheesh. You know, Rodney just summoned me the other day, and he's apparently president of a golf association of some kind that's only for doctors, so you wouldn't be able to get into it. And he didn't ask me to write him a note or anything, just wanted to chat with his dear dead mom. At this point, I was pretty tired. And I just decided to banish her back to hell or whatever she normally stays. And while my back was turned, I noticed that she's being unusually quiet. So I look around, and I'm looking to see what the hell's going on with the quiet. And she's eating some kind of ghostly baby Ruth. And who even fucking knew that ghosts had candy? But anyway, I didn't know that. They do. They have candy. They have special ghost candy, and it's probably delicious. But, like, whatever. So, she gets banished, and I still didn't have the note at this point, so I did what any red-blooded American would do, and I forged it. So I get to work the next day, and my boss sends me an email, and I show up, and I show him the note, and immediately he's like, you forged this, didn't you? Don't lie to me. I can smell lies. Which is true, actually, because he got this special surgery done where you can smell what's true and what isn't. So basically, if you ever want to lie to him, you have to do it while he has a cold. But anyway, I don't even bother defending it. I'm just like, yeah, I forged it. That's not my mother's signature. I summoned her and she was uncooperative because I'm her least favorite son. And my boss cuts in with, well, obviously, you're terrible. I'm going to summon your mother right now to get to the bottom of this. And I look in his pocket and I see a bulge. And I think, either that's a very long, thin, new type of cell phone, or that's a candy bar. And goddamn, don't I wish I had one. But just whatever, I don't care. Well, it turns out that my boss keeps a pentagram pre-set up under his desk, so he moved his desk aside and bam, we were ready to summon my mom, and I was all like, we really don't have to do this. She's just going to complain about what a terrible son I am. But the boss is like, you should have thought of that before you were such a terrible son. And he nods slightly in the direction of his world's best son trophies, of which he has many, son of a bitch. And he summons my mom, and they get to chatting, and they actually kind of hit it off. Possibly because they're united by their dislike of me, but anyway, they're jabbering up a storm, and I think I finally found my chance. I can steal the candy bar from my boss's pocket while he's busily talking to Mom, except for I tried to do that. And you know what? Turns out it was a weird, long, thin, new type of cell phone. Who'd have guessed?